we do have an issue. It's a little bit confusing of where we're meeting and all of this. And Steve and I will pay $1 fine, and I'll pay it, not a fine, what Steve did. He met with President of LR and worked out for us to be in this room. So it's changing, but there are some information, and Rick, if you would go through that, and Steve would add to it, so we should be in good shape. Okay, listen to this.
Quick recap, you know we were supposed to be going to the Bear's Lair. Well, thanks to Steve, we're going to stay here in the fireside room. However, there will be a class in here at 8 o'clock on 9 different sessions. 8 sessions this semester.
It's in the bulletin.
All right, very good. And it's in the bulletin, but just a reminder, it's every other week beginning next week. Every other week for the, be 16 weeks, will be 8 sessions, and then 1 session in March. Class will be here at 8 o'clock.
So we need to
Rick,
be out.
when I spoke to Fred Witt, he said this room was not being used.
Well, he was wrong.
So, well, I'm going to go see him when I leave here this
Okay.
morning.
I have a feeling he's already spoken to Janet because you went to see him. Because I don't see her on her own trying to get us here. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
She had us down there, and we had asked for that room in there, and she said, "No,
That's on the back.
okay."
I got that.
And so it's just my opinion that after your conversation with Dr. Witt, that he called her to try to get us in here.
So he called the provost, and the provost said we're not using this room.
Well,
I'll
yeah,
figure it out.
so until we hear different from Steve, what we have to ensure is on those 8 dates that we are here on time. Bell rings no later than 7:05. Okay? Even if you guys are getting lunch at 7, that's fine. You come in the middle of Wayne's World or something. Not a problem. And if during those 8 sessions, if Wayne can keep it from 7:05 to 7:15, we can do a program from 7:15 to 7:30, and then have our business from 7:30 to 7:50, be out of here at 7:50. Because kids are not going to, I mean, y'all went to college. You know what time they don't like to get into the classrooms and stuff. All right, and the only other assistance we would need just during those 8 sessions is help Wayne get the stuff out of here. Okay, and then very, very importantly, next week, the district governor is coming. And I think, Robert, you'll be introducing him and stuff of that nature, and Donald will be here early enough. We can get here early. We definitely want to be here for the district governor and try to get everybody here.
Thank you very much, sir.
Donald, may I add to this too?
You can have anything you want.
The district governor, he may ask to meet with Rotarians afterwards, and normally we provide breakfast, and after if he wants to have breakfast with Rob or Bob, we will pay for it. So if you need to take him for breakfast, handle that. Yes.
I have one thing, not to be nitpicky, but I think Dr. Van Dam, he said we would be getting our lunch and his breakfast. So
Did I say lunch?
you did, so I think you should pay for that
No, I will pay you.
In your defense, some of us get up earlier than others.
Good enough.
Hey, that's all I heard, the lunch part.
We probably ought to try to ensure that the governor has the floor by 7:15.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, at least.
At
At least. I've seen his presentation, and it lasts about 22 minutes.
Well, I tell you what, we will speed it up, and we need to have him on the floor at 7:15.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, and we'll be out of here. So, anyway, all right, President-elect Donald, it's all yours.
Okay.
Real quick. I'll take it if you want. While they're setting up, President Risley had asked us to consider having every Rotarian plant a tree. I'm sure some of you get some of the same mailings I do, but I've got one from Arbor Day Foundation, and you're not going to get any better price for a tree than they have. So if anybody's interested in that, we can buy 30 of them, plant them in a backyard somewhere.
How much does a tree cost?
Go for it. Huh? I think, what I saw, they're at least 18 inches, but
How much do they cost?
they're little, like seedlings.
What time?
There are a number of choices. why don't I just
Email it.
email it or pass it around? 10 free, looks like, gosh, that looks like a $20 donation. So they're a couple bucks a piece.
I've done this several times in the past. They tend to be sticks,
Yeah.
about this tall, this much root. But my backyard was bare when we bought the house 12 years ago, and now I have woods, and it all came from these sticks. My boys used to make fun of me planting sticks. And
Yeah,
they
don't
make
let
fun of
that
me
fool you,
anymore. Yeah.
because they will grow.
Yeah.
It looks dead, but don't throw it out, it will grow, because I'll ditto what Scott says, I bought trees before, and
Can I turn this in real quick before Glenn leaves? This is $85 for the club, and it's from backpack sales from my shop, where we bought them from the mill next door, and I charged the surplus. And people are paying the surplus to help a child to school, so this is $85, and there's probably another 100 coming, so.
$85 backpack sales,
Yeah.
sales.
Yeah.
Wayne, there is a bundle of 10 mentioned here. 2 flowering crab apples, 3 American redbuds, 2 Washington hawthorn, and 3 white flowering dogwood.
Okay, good
My
selection.
mama used to whip those with.
Yeah, that's bring back bad memories.
Ain't gonna be no crab apple.
I'm serious. And then they mess up the yard, you gotta pick it up. I've got your butt whooped with.
Did you used to make throwers with crab apples?
No, I used to run crab apple trees.
Oh,
My mother, I tell you could always tell when any kid in the neighborhood got their ass busted. Be playing baseball in the summertime, they'd have on blue jeans. Hide them stripes on them legs.
All right. Okay, Mr. Hunter, you ready to introduce your guest?
I am, sir.
Well, have at it, please.
As you see on your bulletin, Richard is no stranger to us. He's one of our professors of history, and his bio is on the program. And we've been talking a lot about polio, and Richard has done extensive research on polio, and he's going to spend some time talking about it. But he brought his trusty colleague with him this morning.
Morning.
Robert Knight, who is one of our English professors, and I'll let Robert introduce himself to the group.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
As Mr. Hunt said, I'm an English professor at Catawba Valley Community College and a proud graduate of Lenore Ryan, 2004. I'm also the editor-in-chief and publisher of Red Hawk Publishing, which worked hand in hand with Richard's hands-on history to create the polio documentary and the book that goes along with it, called Polio, Pitchforks, and Perseverance, How a Small County Named Catawba Battled Polio. And this book contains about a dozen essays by people that work at the college, people who live in the area, of all different kinds of specialities, from allied health services, and how the Iron Lung and the Miracle Hospital helped fuel a health program at the college, and from our good friend Johnny Scott, who did a wonderful essay in here on African Americans in the 1944 epidemic here in Catawba County. So I brought a few of the books. The books are $20. We bought some copies of the documentary. They're $20, and we got some combos here that are $30. You can get, you can save $10 if you get the 2 of them. But I also wanted to mention to you that Red Hawk Publishing is also working on any kind of idea that people in the area might have that pushes history and literature forward in the area, especially about Catawba County and the surrounding counties that CVCC services. We're working on a book right now called We See What We Want to See, which is a photographic and artistic look at the Henry River Mill Village out in Burke County. Clayton Joe Young has taken some photographs of the area. Tim Peeler wrote some poems for each one of the photographs, and historical preservationist Kelly Carroll from New York has written some scholarship on mill villages in general and the Henry River Mill Village in specific. And that book will be out sometime around the 1st of October. as a hardcover limited edition. We're also doing a book with Newton called Newton Then and Now, where we've taken old photographs that are chosen from the archives of the Historical Society, and students have gone to the area and taken a shot from the exact same place that wherever this photograph may have been taken. Let's say the front of the State Theater. The front of the State Theater in 1950 and the front of the State Theater in 2017. So we've got a then and now, and then the students have taken their graphic arts training and fused those photographs into what we call a hybrid to create a look at then and now in one photograph. And that book will probably be out sometime in the spring. We've also got several other projects going concerning the Miracle team of 1960, is it 64?
Yes.
Miracle football team 1964 at Ridgeview. We've got some other projects underway. We also do some course books and things like that for our programs at the college. So Catawba Valley Community College is really putting its back behind this initiative. And if any of you folks in the community have any ideas of any projects to push history and put forward history, because we want our kids to stay in Catawba County and understand that this is a rich area to live and to grow up. We're starting as young as 3rd grade with some of our projects. We're going to go into 3rd grade in the county schools. We've got a project going on right now with Gary Fries where we're going to create a youth version of the Catawbans trilogy for 7th grade curriculum in the middle schools to try to teach kids that history matters and that our history is important here in Catawba County. So I'll turn this over to Richard. If y'all have any questions for me, all you have to do is just ask. You can holler at me down at the college. Mr. Eller.
Thank you, sir. Last time I was here, we were just finishing this documentary, so instead of, that was just an overview, but what I want to do today, since you guys have been talking about the polio hospital, is give you a couple of excerpts from it, a couple of the important pieces that come along with this. And the first section, so I'm going to pick up in the middle of this, but the first section I want to show you here is one of the reasons that we were able to do this documentary, and that is because the rich amount of footage of that hospital at its time. So we can see what that was like. And in interviewing some of the people who were at the hospital, had polio during that era, they were able to describe for us what getting those treatments were like. And Catawba County, the Hickory Hospital was on the front edge of a very new therapy that was being offered at that time. The medical establishment would not allow this treatment to be used. But what you'll see in this section is what it was able to do for them. So let me show you this piece about the Kinney treatment.
She's quite a woman.
They did what they called the Sister Kinney treatment, which was hot packs, and it was torture. They would take army blankets, wool blankets, and they'd cut them in strips. But each patient had strips that were cut to her measurements.
And they boiled them, and they took long tongs and lifted them out and put them in the
Now tell me about this one thing.
wash machine that had the wringer
With that.
on it, and they would put those blanket strips through that and take the tongs and carry them to the patients. And where we had polio, they wrapped it right hot to your body, to your arms and your legs or whatever.
The generation at Hickory was, I'm not sure it was the first hospital, but it was one of the very first to use the Kinney exclusive. And the only reason that happened was that the March of Dimes sanctioned it. The medical profession at that time did not accept the Kinney. They still believed in immobilization. Because if a person had a serious case of polio and you did absolutely nothing, the arms and muscles would begin to crawl up and they would just, get end up almost in a ball. And so they would put them in a cast and they'd stay for a couple of years in a cast and with their limbs straight. When it came out of the cast, their limbs weren't crooked, but they had no strength. They never got back on their feet again. And we got back on our feet in great numbers.
We're all looking for jobs. Just got done nursing school. So they decided, well, when they come to Hickory, they heard about the polio epidemic and the Red Cross needed help. So that's what 5 of us did for Richmond. We were busy, and each one that came in, they really needed the help. We weren't long hours, but we were happy to do it.
And we're very lucky that we had a nurse who's still from that hospital that's still with us.
Nurses came from New York, they came from the Midwest. Nurses from Hickory helped as much as they could between their own daily duties at local hospitals. They hired some prisoners from the local prison to come, and those what were known as the Angels of Mercy. They were allowed to come and help the children, assist the nurses. They provided comfort to the children 24 hours, so they helped the babies a lot in the nursery just by feeding them and holding them and helping them through the scary time because parents were not allowed with their children. The nurses came and they practiced the Kenny treatments. From patients, they said that if it weren't for the kindness and the sweetness of the nurses, they don't feel they would have gotten better or gotten as healthy as they did later in life. They look back fondly on the care of the nurses. They wrapped the patients with those Kenny treatments and they would scald the children a lot of times, but as long as they were there soothing them, the children felt they were safe.
It was absolute torture. But we were always told not to cry, don't cry, don't cry. If you cried, it was just like it was a sin to cry. They'd put rubber around you to hold the heat in, and then they'd wrap a blanket around you, and you were like in a cocoon till your hot packs cooled, and then your muscles were limber and they could move them. So then they'd start moving your arms and legs and stretching and pulling. And then they had hydrotherapy too. After we got where they could manipulate us even more, they'd put us in warm water on a board and put us in the water, and they could move our legs around. And sometimes we could move our legs a little bit better in the water than we could after we started being able to move some of our limbs by ourselves. We could move it better in the water than we could out of the water.
You lay in that water, in the hot water, hot as you can stand it for 30 or 45 minutes. Then you got out of that tub, and a physical therapist was underneath you to a set of bars that you held on to with both hands. And then that physical therapist taught you how to walk.
All the different things that were going on as far as the treatments.
Let me take you to
limb shortening.
A section that is kind of one of the reasons I did this, and I was lucky enough to find this gentleman. Because in following this story, there is a, we're losing those patients who were there because in 2019 we'll be at the 75th anniversary. And this patient I'd read about over and over again and never thought I'd be able to find him. My wife says, well, let's look him up on the internet. And luckily enough, we were able to find him in Wilmington, and he was gracious enough to allow me to come down and talk to him. And his story is probably, in my opinion, the most compelling of all the stories that you see of people coming to and needing that hospital.
And how respiratory therapy developed here in this area specifically. Stories abound of the sacrifices made to come to the aid of those struck down by polio. One of the most poignant details a father's love for his son. Wilkesboro attorney T.R. Bryan closed his practice and brought his 8-year-old son John to Hickory, where doctors classified him as one of the sickest children in the hospital. 3 days later, hospital workers located John's father scrubbing hands in the kitchen. When asked why, he replied, "I'm sort of like one of the boards that went into a wall.
People here all work to the breaking point. They work for my boy and other people's children. I want to stay and work too."
I remember the first day I got there, I was not sick. I was feeling bad. I had a headache and I just didn't feel good. By the next day, I had full-blown polio. And I had 2 types. I had the orbital type, which is the lungs, the breathing, the eating, and also the paralysis type. So I could not breathe, I could not eat. For I think it was 5 weeks, I did not eat anything. I was fed intravenously through my veins, and also a feeding tube through my nose. Well, I hated that thing. I still remember that feeding tube in my stomach. That was bad. My case of polio was a very, very severe type, and the doctors advised my parents that I would not live through the night or by the next day. And I understand that they started making funeral arrangements for me. For at least 3 to 4 days, they said, after I really contacted the disease, that it was really touch and go when I would make it or not. And if I had not been diagnosed or told to take me to Hickory that quick, I was there about 12 hours before it really hit me. And when it really hit me, I could not breathe, I could not eat, I could not swallow. And they put me in a iron lung. And that's what saved my life. So if I hadn't been at that hospital, and if they hadn't had an iron lung ready to go, I would have never made it.
Those were grim days, but a hospital filled.
So that gives you an idea of how important this hospital was to patients. Throughout the documentary, we were able to go through the whole chronology of it, and then eventually we talked a little bit about the lasting legacy of it, and you can see it still in this community today. Our simulated hospital over at CVCC is a good example of people coming together to work for common good and that sort of thing. But this hospital is extremely important, I think, to this community. I'd say you'd say the seminal moment of Cadaba County comes when all these folks come together in all their different ways. John Bryant's an interesting case because there's some things I wasn't able to include in the documentary from the interview, but we are able to put on the Kindle version of the book so that once you go in and if you buy the book on Kindle, you can go in and see some excerpts from it. And he talks about how, he was just an irrepressible kid, and that once he came home, he also went to Warm Springs, but once he came home, he was in his wheelchair, and he'd go out hunting in his wheelchair, which shows you how determined he was as a guy. So the footage, we have footage from Dan Mowry talking about if you left polio alone, one of the patients. His father shot this color film. We have the National Foundation who came down through the Red Cross, through the March of Dimes, and shot footage. This was a national story in 1944 and into 45, because 45, when they used to solicit money, because that's FDR's birthday month, when they solicited that in 1945, they told this story. That's how it got to be the Miracle of Hickory to the nation. And there's a guy who, in my research I found, was out in Oregon in the service, and he was from Catawba County, and he watched it on the screen because they would do this before the feature picture. And so we have included elements of that in here as well. Everything we could pull together to tell this story is in both the documentary and the book. So.
And if I may say, one of the things that drew me to this project, gentlemen, was I looked for anomalies in human behavior. And an anomaly in human behavior, which is really not an anomaly, it's really our natural state, is how we come together during moments of crisis. And when you look at the 1944 polio epidemic in this area, how a hospital was built in 54 hours, how people in this area, business leaders, laborers, nurses, people of all walks of life came together to fight a beast, to fight a villain that was threatening to take its children. You want to be able to package that. You'd like to be able to carve that out and make that our raison d'etre for living. It kind of in some ways encompasses and encases Jesus' mandate of taking care of the less than us. And when you look at that summer and you look at the arc of it, you can see that there's an epic moment, and it's in this gentleman's story. It's in the lawyer's story who closes his practice and washes dishes, rolls up his sleeves and washes dishes for a common good. And then when you look at the other side of it, after the conflict had passed and after things got back together, what happens? But they begin arguing over money. They begin arguing over whose credit is this and who is that. They bulldoze the thing to the ground as though it never existed, and everything kind of goes back to normal. But you think, in all of our conflict and all of our ability to dislike each other and hate each other and these kind of things, we do have the propensity, we do have the ability to come together and do good. There are people who are alive today. There are people who would not have been born if it had not been for this hospital, for these Sister Kenny treatments.
Richard, where exactly was the hospital itself? I've seen the sign out on 321.
If you go up the hill there, you know where the, what's it, Hickory Music Factory, that building is? There, all the way to the tennis courts on down, that's where it was. And one of the reasons they bulldozed it is because they said, well, it's got a stigma. And they wanted to erase that stigma and create a residential section, which they have. But the whole idea of us at our best moment also kind of shows us at our worst, because later in the documentary, and we do a short piece on it, the squabble was over money. The National Foundation had put a lot of resources into Hickory that summer. And then 12 years later, they were putting the resources elsewhere. Well, the local folks said, well, the money our people gave should be for local health, because a lot of these patients after the epidemic still have medical need. And the Hickory chapter was using that money for continued operations, for therapy, and that sort of thing. And the National Foundation said, oh no, we need it for another event we've got going. And they go to court, and the local folks lose. But if you think about the local folks, we were raising at twice the national average and 3 times the state average. And we were doing that year in and year out.
Richard, were there other parts of the country that experienced polio outbreaks?
Oh yes, absolutely, yes.
Similar to what we had here?
Yes.
No, this was unique.
No.
Well, I tell you,
the question was outbreaks.
Okay.
Is because the previous summer in Chicago, they had an outbreak. They had an 11% mortality rate there. And because we were, as parts of the nation refer to us, in the woods, they were hoping that they could keep it at 11%, the mortality rate here. It would be a good day. We had it at under 3. So that shows you, out of 454, we had, I think it was 12 or 13 patients.
The demographics of the Hickory event gave the epidemiologists the information they needed to find out how polio was transmitted. None of the other epidemics in the country offered. Chicago was just the malaise. It was,
that's right.
How was it? What is it? Who is it? Here, they found the vector and found out why and corrected a health stance inside this country to stop it.
Yep, that's in one of the essays in the book.
And we were, one of our respiratory therapy instructors who had his class do research on this has pinpointed here as kind of ground zero for respiratory therapy. And they talk about that in another piece.
Absolutely.
There is no marker on the site itself, is that correct?
The marker's down there on 321.
Right, yeah,
yes.
I've seen that.
Right.
Because we have been talking amongst us since Rotary International is big against the fight against polio, for us as a club doing something on site for a marker.
Really?
And,
wow.
We have a write-up to give you in case you want to follow up for us.
We'll be meeting with some city officials to talk about what hoops we'd have to go through to make that happen. And we have to come together as a group to agree what that marker would look like, whether it be a live tree or something. That is our intent. And to me, it's unconscionable that there's no marker there. As important as this thing is.
It's just strange.
Richard, wasn't the old recreation headquarters, recreation department headquarters, wasn't that sort of ground zero?
Yes.
Was that building actually there, or that was built after later?
That was built after, because if you look at the building that was there, because there was that stone building there before, and that was a camp for it was the health area. They made it as a camp for underprivileged kids. And those are the kids they cleared out when they said, we're going to build a hospital here. But that stone building is gone. The new building that's there has a very similar structure, but it's not the same one. Yeah, that would be a monument to it. But, and you've got several places. Oh, thank you. you've got several places that recognize it. Downtown Hickory with the obelisk, the state historic marker out on 321. The Harper House in Hickory has in its downstairs area some of the, you might have seen in there, a lot of the artifacts, baby iron lung, some of the baby beds, and that's about all that's left of it. And so what we wanted to do is include the patient's experience. We have two nurses. One was an African-American nurse who, in Johnny Scott's section, he talks about the issues of race that went along with this. Because when the hospital first started, patients were first come, first serve. And so race didn't matter. And I've got a patient, Jack Williams, who was like the third or fourth patient, and he still lives in this area, who was diagnosed. He was in that ward when there was a woman came in and pitched a fuss, and then all of a sudden they had to segregate. So it's, in my opinion, a very interesting series of events that tell, just how severe this was, but how Southern attitudes end up taking over and that sort of thing. But we, and I would argue the country, has never had anything like this. So that's why I think this story is so significant. And I applaud you if you're able to do that, to bring more attention to it, because, as I said, 2019 is the 75th anniversary. I would love to see I've talked to people about the possibility of doing a feature film on it, and all sorts of things, but you never know. You never know. And we're getting close. And we're losing those folks. So. But thank you for your interest in it, your work on it. Polio is mentioned in here toward the end as towards eradication of it in 2019, because we have that small display over at the Harper House that includes Rotary International. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Eller, we're glad to have you here, and on behalf of, sir, we are glad to have you here, and on behalf of Rotary, Hickory Sunrise Rotary, we'd like to present to you a token of our appreciation for having you here.
Thank you very much. I think President-elect Mr. Hicks needed to be fined. He said, sir. He didn't even call him by name.
Hey, we're going to give him a pass this time. He's under pressure.
That's all right.
That bus is fast.
That bus is yellow too.
Richard, those are made by Mr. Honeycutt over here.
Yes.
Who's a master woodworker.
Wow. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank you.
that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh, boy.
You tell him who made that?
Did you,
Of course I do. Hey, I do my job. Hey.
Mr. Honeycutt over here is a master woodworker. He makes a.
How many times have you heard that? Mr. Mike, how many times have you heard that? That Mr. Honeycutt made it.
Okay.
He's a master woodworker.
Okay.
Thank y'all.
Thank you very much for coming. Let's see, where are we?
And the low right.
Fireside room.
Are there any more announcements?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I got Scott wants 20 seconds. Anybody else want to have an announcement? Okay. Bob wants another 10 seconds. Kenny wants 10 seconds. You want 10 seconds? Okay, we're going to start with Scott since he asked first.
Okay, just up on the board, I put some more information about something coming up. November 12th through 18th is Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week, state organization.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're not singing. Scott has the floor.
Hey,
Ladies and gentlemen, we're not singing. Scott has the floor.
Y'all going to the principal's
Thank you.
office.
Conduct this business afterwards, please.
Continuum of Care is sponsoring this, and I'll bring more information as the details come out. I know Rick is involved in it, Hickory Soup Kitchen, so Austin's involved in it, St. Albans, Salvation Army. It's a pretty big organization, and there should be a lot of things going on. I put down the one thing we're having at the coffee shop on November 14th, the poetry reading focused on hunger and homelessness.
Rick, did you want?
Okay, Rick, you had a Well, go ahead. I'll say
Doc.
mine for last.
Okay, yes, sir?
Me?
Yes, sir, please.
Well,
Please.
we are roughly 12 weeks out from the dance. I know that's scary. There was
It's never been scary.
politicians were downtown Newton last night with the Band of Oz, and they were doing their thing as politicians do. Bob and Austin were in the crowd trying to sell dance tickets. So, everybody, I hope, has sold an ad or two by now. I'm not going to call anybody out yet. But let me tell you what a simple phone call does. So I was talking with an individual in the club, not going to mention any names, thank you, Austin. And he calls McDonald's. And what's his name? John Link.
John.
And John says, gosh, this year I'm done. But how about if I give you $1,000 to the St. Patrick's dance? So that's etched in stone. So that's all it takes. One phone call. He says, you're in for next year, $1,000 on the board from McDonald's, and it's as simple as that.
I have one other thing I wanted to add too. I talked to Bill McVeary yesterday, and rather than write a check, which is not what he wants to do, from Lexington Home Brands, he'd like to do a piece, like a chair, something, not a sofa, but I mean, you know, certainly it's worth way more than $500. But I don't want to throw it out there if we're planning on getting something else to raffle off, but again, it's 100% profit for us. Can I just tell them we'll take it? Even if we don't use it for this dance, we can use it for the next. Okay.
Let's also not forget that we have a furniture academy at our school as well. And we have maybe in a position to do that, but now I thought that we were not going to do that, so.
We're not, but that was his way of donating to Austin yesterday. He came by, and then I told him I was gonna hit him up too, yesterday afternoon.
So if we don't use it for this dance, could we just store it for another event?
I have an ongoing raffle. We could raffle it, even though we're not doing a silent auction, we could raffle it.
You're not doing a silent auction. This is in place of the rifle.
Yeah.
That we used to raffle off.
Why don't we just do a raffle instead of a silent auction? Put the pieces on the stage and
raffle off
move them off before the band starts.
I mean, we give $5,000 a year to CVCC, so surely I can get several pieces of furniture we can raffle, and it's not junk. It's good stuff.
It's good looking. In fact,
So
the
please,
district
all it
governor-elect's
takes-
coming back to buy some.
All it takes is a phone call. All it takes is mentioning what the dance is for and how it helps our community. We don't send the money, so to speak, outside of the county.
But I noticed on the tickets, Bob, and I was hoping that the tickets reflected some of that. But there's nothing on the tickets that says education is what this is going to.
Yeah, there's so much information
I know,
on the ticket.
I know.
Kenny gave that some forethought. We had to, so we're gonna put some other things up in the room. This is an educational fundraiser, so when Phil Trick and his wife come around and wanting to sell this and that, hopefully they'll have some hats that have some information on the top of their hats.
Who has the tickets?
I've got the tickets.
Okay.
Yeah, and there was 300 tickets exactly printed. I do need somebody very quickly to take charge of the posters so we can get them out. The White's Cleaners always hangs them, and others through Viewmont, but we can plaster them all over the county. Kenny, how many did you print for me?
25.
25, and I've got 24 left. So if somebody can take that and run with it, sure.
So they need to be placed in really good spots.
They do need to be placed, and they need to be placed now. No, Kenny will print more. He'll print more. But they need to go out ASAP.
I'm meeting with the travel agent next week.
Great.
And see if we can get that cruise.
So who's gonna step up with poster distribution?
Need somebody just to spend a half a day and just knock on doors and say, will you put this in the window? It's very, very important.
Look here.
I would, but I don't know where to put them. I don't mind putting them.
All you gotta do is ask, just knock on somebody's door if it's got a window for that people walk in and out.
Chick-fil-A and Viewmont?
Yeah, Chick-fil-A'd love to.
I think Tasteful Beans might hang one.
Yeah.
He just said it.
Yeah, he said it.
Also check with John Wood. How many McDonald's do we have?
Most of the grocery stores have a bulletin board that's available to anybody come in.
Quality cleaners.
There you go,
Well,
downtown.
libraries always have bulletin boards, so
So
I mean,
may I
I know
make
where-
a suggestion?
if I just needed to get rid of
Please
posters,
do.
I could do it.
By all means.
Now, make
What
a
a good
suggestion,
question.
everybody just name 2 people, they can take 2 posts and go put them up, and you be done with it.
I got my two.
That works.
Yeah,
Yes.
I like, that's a good
Now,
idea,
after-
rather than dump them all on Gavin. If everybody takes 2 posters,
Take 2, go put them up.
And if you'd like, I've got them in my truck, but I'll bring them next week. We'll set them on the table. Everybody take 2.
All
Why
right.
are we waiting till next week? Why don't we meet you at your truck?
Fine.
Yeah.
I don't know where the truck is.
Well, you're right. I had to park at the next campus.
He's a wise guy now, he is.
just because he has a
Wise
mustache.
guy.
Former president.
Okay, you had a comment, Mike?
Yeah, just because I got a mustache.
No, talking about him, just because he's got a mustache
Oh, yeah,
now,
right.
No.
he's a different person.
I
Are you
already made
through?
my comment when I said, may I
Okay.
suggest it?
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Well, Rick's
All
coming.
right,
Okay.
the program list has been sent out. You know when you have your programs. If you need a program, Scott has an extra one in the oven. If you need, let him know. And Gavin has one also. What's this?
It's the management.
Yeah, Business and Industry Services at Catawba Valley Community College. Keith Sipe has a program. And he's spoken to Gavin about that. Let Gavin know if you need a program. And the idea is, we don't want pressure for anybody to say, oh, it's my turn next week, I don't know what to do. As you get ideas and throw things out, I'll keep track of all of them for you, but let you know, if you need a program, Gavin's got one, Scott's got one.
And I got a walking program.
Okay, a bunch of programs.
I need to let him know so he can schedule it. And I can put it in for when mine is, but I usually bend your ears with all that music sort of stuff, so I've always...
Yeah, go ahead and do that. Put this one in.
Exactly, okay. I'll put that on mine. All right. Save you all. Okay.
Let me say that I will not be here on the 6th or the 13th, and so Gavin is going to do the program. Gavin and Kenny, and Kenny's lady Barbara has been doing our program for 100 years.
Okay.
The 3 of them will collaborate on doing the bulletin, but you need to get information to them. Scott, you need to get the information on from Will Locke. And then, Austin, you know what you're gonna do?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have Miss Carol from the Special Olympics come. They're right in the middle of their season and got a lot of exciting things, and we hadn't seen anybody from that community in a while.
We'll get her to send information, both a little bit of bio and then a little bit about the program. Send it to both Gavin and Kenny.
We'll do it.
Ron, what do you need me to do then when you say I'm going to do the program? I'm happy to do it, but I don't know what I'm doing. I need to do something to provide some kind of blurb here from the Rotary.
And I'll send you some notes on that, because in fact, for the September 6th, you can run the September message up here from RI President. You can pick that up offline, and I usually edit it down to about 2/3 of what's published online.
Okay. Now, is Locke a candidate for office?
Yes.
No, we're not promoting politics in this club, or Rotary says no. So.
Steve is correct on that. When you divide, bring him as a guest.
Absolutely.
That's all you need to do.
Bring him as a guest.
But he can't get up
Introduce
to
him.
do the program and talk about politics.
Right.
And we got 4 running, 3 or 4, and therefore you'd have a platform here. So Rotary should be that platform.
That's $1 for somebody.
I mean, yeah, bring him and introduce him.
Introduce him
Absolutely.
is perfect. But it's not a program.
And when you copy, make sure you don't put an H on my name like it is in this bulletin on the last line of September 27th.
Oh, I see you were going to win the lottery on the 21st.
It's gonna be rich.
Rich.
Oh, I see that.
Rich man.
Oh, Rich, hey, Rich. He's rich.
I won't say anything.
Go find it. Bob, you have something?
Yeah, I need to form a committee really quick because the Lake Hickory Club is asking me if we're going to do the 2018 dance.
Yeah.
So I just need 3 or 4 people to meet with the lady that wants to put this together with us. I know Rick.
Oh, that big.
The big event.
You mean to, I'm on it.
Absolutely. I know
Yeah,
Ron is, and I know Rick
You mean the
is.
national contest?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I'll meet.
Yeah, she said we've already missed, I'm sorry. We more than likely have missed the 18 calendar. Okay, the deadline's already passed. So these things are put a year in advance, a year and a half out, so people can find out what their path is for that year. So probably looking at 19 at this point, so
We can meet and get information, bring it back to the club.
Absolutely, and then we'll share with the club. Yep.
Who
got
does
about
not
20
have
seconds.
a directory? If you don't have a directory, please grab one. I know there's members who don't have a directory.
You gave them that at the annual meeting?
I did, but a lot of people were not there.
Yeah, okay, I just got mine.
Okay, you got 4 seconds.
Question, did we get the Hickory Sunrise Rotary org versus .com straightened out on that flyer?
I don't know.
I sent it to the lady at the school as soon as I left here.
Okay,
And I didn't hear whether she'd sorted it out or not.
because we'll get nothing from that if we don't get that address correct.
Half an hour after I left here, she had it, so, and Phil called her. So if she didn't do it, it was either too late, but Phil didn't think it was, or she didn't,
Okay,
for some reason.
because if we don't, we can make stickers put over it, but we gotta get it right.
Okay,
Let's
Kenny,
thank
Kenny
Scott
has,
for bringing the coffee this morning.
thank you, Scott. Also, Kenny had a comment.
Quick question, what are we going to raffle off? Is it gonna be eggs, a rifle, furniture?
Did you ankled that you had an offer from another member?
Yes.
Is that still good?
I've got,
Listen to what he's saying, it's important.
Kenny has 4 pages.
Walter Smith has a rifle, and I know some people want to move away from the rifles.
No, that's fine.
It's over 50 years old. It's a Winchester. He's got several that he just give to us. This is, I have a Winchester 22 pump bolt action, Winchester model 88-308 with a scope, a Remington 742 automatic, 30-06, 20 gauge shotgun, and a few shotguns. I'm sure I can donate something. All these guns work perfectly, but are at least 50 years old.
Kenny, do you know any of those would really draw some attention?
The pump action.
But I will say this. I've already contacted the people at the
Gun show?
gun show. They have an event on September that runs into October, which would be Saturday and Sunday. I cannot do it Saturday. My wife is running in a marathon in Charlotte, and if I don't go, I'm scum of the earth. Really, I mean, I'd be, ooh. But
you could be armed.
I could make arrangements and contact the people at the gun show. I would be glad to work on it on Sunday, if they have it on Sunday.
This is to sell tickets you're talking about?
Yes. I mean, if you want to sell hot dogs, you go to an event where people's going to be hungry. If you want to raffle off a gun, you go to where the people buy guns.
It better not be me, because I wouldn't be able to keep my mouth shut about guns and I'd get shot.
I'll be glad to do it, but that's why not gonna do a black man with gun at the gun show.
What day's the gun show?
I don't think I'm gonna.
It's the
30th and the 1st, 30th of September, the 1st of October.
I've got the name of name and number of the gentleman I need to contact to actually put it on the show. I feel sure he'll charge us for a table, but I'm gonna try to convince him not to. And our Rotary banner needs to be put up down there, and some signs made that all the proceeds go to education. I mean, it's whatever y'all want to do.
I'll be glad to man a table Saturday.
I'll run by and bring you some and leave. I won't come stay.
But last year, he said they had between 4,800 and 5,000 people come through.
Whoa.
Kenny, maybe if
Sell a ticket.
if we talk to Mandy Pitts, took over for BB, she might be able to talk that guy into some reduced rate and let us put a table out in the lobby.
That's what I was thinking, just right there is at the entrance.
I mean, he kinda controls the building that day, so it's
Sure.
not like Mandy can just say, I'm gonna let these people do this.
But she could
But
smooth it
if
out.
she was sort of an intermediary, I mean, he makes a bunch of money off that show, so it's no big deal to let us do that.
How much money was raised off the raffle, the last gun raffle?
I think it's,
1,500 or
I
something?
think it's $1,700.
Yeah, 17 by 17.
That's hard to turn
Well,
down.
free-
I
free money.
sold $700 the night of the dance.
Yeah. And I just make a suggestion that we're talking about the raffling all these different things off. To me, that's kind of a waste because people are going to spend so much on a raffle anyway. If they've already spent it on a ticket for one thing, they're not going to also spend it on things that are similar, like all these furniture things or whatever. Maybe keep that and do a silent auction the next time.
Or do a raffle that doesn't have anything to do with the dance.
Good point.
We can just do a raffle. And we don't have to do with the dance, just have a raffle. And just have an ongoing raffle.
So do I need to make arrangements to try to, or
Yeah.
contact
Get the
Nancy?
gun, get the gun,
Yeah.
get the display.
Get that one that's the best seller.
All the things we think Sam
Fair
will do.
due. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Mr. Knight, Mr. Eller, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Hey,
My pleasure.
hey.